Wow. Welcome back to the show, the franchise. It's the franchise, but I've got to tell you, you better keep my podcast's name out of your fucking mouth. All right? Keep my podcast's
Are we still
name
doing that?
out of your fucking mouth. Hey, it's the only opportunity I'll ever have. Hey, fuck Will Smith, everybody. Welcome to the show. D-Train over here. Daniel
She has
Ehrenberg.
alopecia, Dan. Come on.
Oh, are you kidding me? That bald ass bitch.
Oh my
You
God.
fucking whatever, dude. Try that with any other comedian. He's lucky it was Chris Rock. Chris Rock could take a punch. Any other comedian would have just ripped on her baldness for like 3 hours.
Imagine Dave Chappelle up there.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. The show's going on 45 extra minutes.
Let me bring. Let's bring in Logan.
Yeah. A-Cab, right? These are two A-Cab movies.
Oh, these movies today. Yeah, I forgot we're covering movies. I thought we were just covering Will Smith punching Chris Rock.
Award Bros. We could do an Award Bros. We could stop
Award
them
Bros.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Congratulations,
didn't watch the
Jessica
Oscars.
Chastain.
Yeah, apparently an asshole.
Jessica Chastain is?
I read there was some controversy the night of the Oscars not involving Will Smith punching Chris Rock. By the way, welcome to Award Bros. The stars are out, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Lee Whannell, the guy who wrote Saw. Okay?
Yeah.
During Jessica Chastain's acceptance speech, tweeted that he's like, it's so nice watching the Oscars with people in the industry because they let you know who's an asshole and who's a hypocrite in real life. And somebody responded like, who are you referring to? And Lee Whannell responded, well, I tried to finish the tweet before the acceptance speech was over. Woo! Fuck you, Jessica Chastain, courtesy of the writer of Saw.
Wow. I mean, he's never worked with her. He doesn't know for sure.
He's talking, but apparently the people he was watching the Oscars with have.
Yeah. Did you watch it with James Wan? I bet that would be so cool watching the Oscars with James Wan and Lee Whannell. What a dream.
Mean, why would that be cool?
What do you mean? You don't like those
What
guys?
would they say? I mean, they're all right, but I don't know that their movie opinions would really light the world on fire for me.
I mean, the Oscars come and go every year. Wouldn't you want to spend one of those years watching it with Lee Whannell and James Wan?
I think I'd want to watch it with somebody who's like had Oscar experience. What Oscars have Lee Whannell and James Wan been in contention for?
I think 0 so far, right? But Malignant should have been nominated for this year.
No, it shouldn't have. That's a 3.
Best face on the back of a head.
Fuck
give it to that one.
I wonder if James Wan was excited that Jason Momoa got on stage at the Oscars this year. That would have been fun to hear him say, hey, I work with that guy.
What did he get on stage for?
They did a bit about, what was Regina Hall being like attracted to a lot of the men in the audience. So she brought him on stage.
Was one of them?
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't remember that.
I didn't really watch it. I only saw clips.
There was a weird joke during that where she was like, Jacob Elordi, you're illegal. Like leave that out of the show.
Yeah, if somebody said that about Millie fucking Bobby Brown, the whole world would have gone insane. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That should not have... Like, you can bring him up there, but don't make the joke that he's legal. That was weird.
Yeah. He's British, huh? Or Australian?
Really?
Yeah, I just learned that. Yeah, he's... Coach made a good point in the Discord, a listener of the show, top 5 listener, if you ask me. He says that, he always thought Jacob Elordi was kind of wooden. This explains it. He's just trying to do the American accent.
That does explain it. I had no idea. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right. We're covering 2 movies today, Logan. One of them has been in the pipeline for a long time, courtesy of another top 5 listener, Evil Chris. So we got Evil Chris and Coach. 3 more fill out those spots. They know who they are. Evil Chris suggested Rambo a long time ago. And when I say suggested, I mean he paid me money and then I just sat on it for like a year. So I'm excited to give him this today. But so today we're just doing the first one of those, which is called First Blood. Of course, Rambo has one of the greatest titling conventions in movie history, one of the least sensical. Do you know the titles of these movies?
No, not exactly. I know First Blood. I know one is called Rambo, and I know there's Rambo Last Blood.
Hear me out. The first one's First Blood, all right? Makes sense, right? That's the title of a movie.
Yeah.
First Blood. What would you think the second one would be called? Second
First
Blood,
Blood
or
2.
First Blood 2? Right. It's called Rambo First Blood Part 2. Okay, it's a little weird, but we'll accept it. Now, what do you think?
That'd be like McClane Die Hard Part 2.
Right, exactly. What do you think the third one should then be called?
Rambo First Blood Part 3.
Yeah, except it's just called Rambo 3.
Oh. Okay.
They get the first blood out of there entirely. Very confusing, all right? Then the fourth one, years later, back to basics. What do you think that one should be called?
That one's got to be Rambo 4.
It's just Rambo.
What?
Just Rambo. The name Rambo. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the fifth one, what's that one?
Last Blood.
Last Blood?
Yeah, Last Blood.
You think that will actually be the last one?
I hope so. I mean, that's pretty great to start a franchise First Blood and then end it 30 years later with Last Blood. Even if it sucks, that's kind of satisfying.
Yeah, are there any others like that? Are there any franchises like that?
Maybe the last Fast and the Furious movie should be called The Slow and the Happy.
I don't think that's gonna happen. That's definitely not gonna happen.
You don't think so?
I guess James Wan wasn't even nominated for that. That didn't even get Best Song.
See, yeah, you're right. Are you kidding me? We rank every Bond song and we couldn't rank See You Again. The Oscars are worthless. I can't express this enough. I can give you literally hundreds of reasons why the Oscars are worthless. And I feel like I have over the course of the podcast. Maybe someone can edit them together.
I don't know if anyone's gonna do that.
Well, I just said maybe.
Yeah,
You know?
I like the Oscars.
Why do you like? You're just young. I think you're not jaded yet. It's still exciting for you.
I
The
am,
stars
though,
are
but
out.
they're still fun though.
But does it?
Zendaya was
But
there.
does it mean anything? Like, these are not remotely the best movies. Like, not even close.
No, they don't mean anything. I feel like they stopped meaning. You know when they meant something to me in like 2014. Like when Jake Gyllenhaal didn't get nominated for Nightcrawler. That's when I realized
God.
these are stupid. That's when I realized these really are pointless.
I mean, what are we
But
doing?
I still enjoy them.
We gave Best Supporting Actress to a Broadway dancer. We gave Best Supporting Actor to a deaf performance artist. We gave Best
Come
Director. What? I mean, Best Director was fine. We gave Best Writer to a famous actor. Like, what? Come on. We gave Best Live Action Short Film to a famous actor. Hand the awards out to the artists that are practicing the art.
Did you know that Shaquille O'Neal and Steph Curry won Oscars the other night?
I didn't know that, but I know Kobe won one a few years ago.
Yeah.
I remember joking about his rape at the time, and everyone ripped on me then too, but when he was still alive.
Yeah. Well, I guess, were you on the right side of history?
Yeah.
I feel like you weren't. I feel
Well,
like still nobody acknowledges it.
Nobody acknowledges it, but I'm on the right side of history in the long run. All right? You guys are on the fucking wrong side of history. That man has as many violent rapes that we know about as he does Oscars, okay?
But not as many as he does championships, and that's what matters.
Yeah, it's true. The way he plays basketball is really what matters. Okay.
Yeah.
So not only are we talking about First Blood today, but there's 5 Rambo movies, which leaves us in that weird spot where it's odd numbers. So we threw in a new release, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City.
I was
From,
hoping you would
back
say
in-
Raccoon.
Oh, yeah. Back in November, that came out, and it was a big reboot of one of my favorite franchises, the Resident Evil franchise.
Is that what this is? a
Uh,
reboot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I
starting
didn't
over
know
from
that.
scratch.
Okay.
Yeah. So let us
That was a prequel.
get into... No, we do all this in the first Resident Evil movie. We're just doing it again with new actors.
Okay, well, I guess I should say that is the only Resident Evil I've seen is that first one. But I saw it when I was very young. I only remember like the big laser scene. That's really all I know from Resident Evil.
Well, that's all you need. The laser hallway. That's easily the best scene.
Yeah, and I know Mila Jovovich is in them, and I know that the guy from The Mummy is in one of them. Oded Fair.
Which guy from The Mummy?
You know that guy Oded Fair?
Fair.
You know that
no,
guy?
I don't remember that guy.
He like has tattoos
Listen,
under.
Here's who I can name from The Mummy. Are you ready? Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, Arnold Vosloo. I'm out.
Who's Arnold Vosloo?
He's the Mummy.
Oh, okay. You don't know the brother Jonathan, who that actor is?
Oh, I'm the twerpy brother. I show up in the second one and ruin everything. Yeah,
oh
fuck
no,
that
he's in
guy.
the first one. He's around in the first.
He's in the first one. I don't remember that. So what is the kid only in the second one?
Yes, the kid pops up in the second one, and then he's an
Yeah.
adult. In the
Hi,
third
I'm
one.
Maria Bello. I take over for the third one. All right. I'm Jet Li.
Who all can you name? From
I guess
the
I do
Cruise
remember
one?
some. Tom Cruise.
There's a girl, right?
I don't remember who it is.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's
thought you might.
I want to say it's a black woman. Maybe Naomi Scott.
No, no. I thought her name was Sophia something.
I'm just like naming it. Oh, Butella. She was supposed to be a name for like 3 seconds.
I don't know if that's right or not.
Sophia
maybe.
Butella. Maybe rhymes with Nutella, a delicious hazelnut snack.
Is that still around, Nutella?
Of course it is. What the fuck? You think Nutella's going away? We'll have it
I mean,
forever.
I know. I didn't think it went away, but that was like really big for a second. Then I don't see it much.
Yeah,
Nutella.
but
I
that's
never
what
had
happens. It
actually.
was like Brussels sprouts got big for a second. Some foods just have their day in the sun.
All right. Well, good for Nutella. Still thriving.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with First Blood. All right.
Yes. No. What? Why would we do that?
Yeah, because that's like the main event. These are the Rambo episodes.
So when people go back and listen, we're gonna have First Blood, then Resident Evil, then the other First Bloods. That bothers me.
But here's to me, if somebody goes back and wants to listen to the Rambo franchise in their entirety, and maybe there's a conversation that needed to happen off.
Should we put it in
that,
the little description when First Blood starts? Then.
Yeah, maybe we could do that. No, I want First Blood to start right now.
All right, let's do it.
And then Resident Evil at the end, we'll just stick it in there. And if people that want to just move on to part 2 want to just do that, they could stop the episode and not listen to Resident Evil. But listen to Resident Evil. It's fun to talk about that. All right. Yeah. First Blood. Are you ready?
Yes.
For some football?
Yes.
Columbia Pictures purchased the rights to a David Morrell novel. Okay. And that was in 1972. He wrote the book while the Vietnam War was still going as a criticism of that shitty war. Okay.
All right.
They bought the rights for $175,000, and they bought them for this fellow Richard Brooks, who was going to direct the movie. He had directed In Cold Blood 5 years earlier, an incredible, crime film. Have you seen it?
No, but I read
with Robert Blake.
I read the book.
What, not for high school?
Yes.
You didn't read it just on your own? How many books, Logan, have you read just on your own for fun?
I
feel like that's not a thing you do much.
No, it's a thing I do never. I would say 20.
20 in your life.
In my life.
Name one of them. What's a book?
I mean, Harry Potter.
What's a
Harry
book
Potter
you
I read on
picked
my
up?
own, obviously. You don't read
what
that
else have you read
school.
on your own? What's an adult novel that you have picked up on your own?
There's not one.
You've never read a novel written for adult human beings that you didn't have to read
The
for
internet
school.
is around these days. People just read stuff online now.
That you can't.
Nobody reads.
That's
Like, even
not true. People read.
Is it not?
I live in New York.
I don't think
The
people read
problem
anymore.
is you're in Alabama. No one's reading.
They have books in Alabama.
What do they have? They don't have books in Alabama. They have magazines in Alabama.
They have. There's a Barnes and Noble near me.
Yeah, I'm sure you could go there and buy the Da Vinci Code or whatever. What's popular.
They all work the same way. They're all the same store. They have the same books.
Listen, all I'm saying is you walk
Tell
around.
me a book to go get. I'll go get a book.
Come on, you walk around and
You mean to read the '90s? The new book, the '90s?
No, read a fucking novel.
Like John Grisham? What do you want me to read?
Read The Great Gatsby.
Oh no, we read that. Or no, maybe we just
for
watched the movie.
school.
Yeah, maybe we just watched
Oh
the
my
movie.
god.
We read Frankenstein in school. That was good.
Did you read the Mary Shelley version or did you read some sort of YA version?
No, the Mary Shelley version. What else? What's some other? A Streetcar Named Desire. Great stuff.
I mean, that's a play.
Still great stuff.
Come on.
Well, what's some
Logan,
other stuff?
You gotta. I mean, you're supposed to have read
Lord of the
some,
Flies. Amazing. Classic literature.
Yeah. You ever read any
What else?
Hemingway or Vonnegut or
No, you kidding me?
I don't know, Philip Roth or no, that's too much. I mean, you never had a Chuck Palahniuk phase or something?
No. Oh, you know what? Whenever I was young, I got into Stephen King. Read Pet Sematary and stuff like that. The Shining.
Okay. You read The Shining, the novel The Shining?
Yeah, when I was 11 years old.
You were smarter and better read when you were 11. What's up
I
with
could
that?
still read. I didn't know how. I still know how.
Maybe you should exercise that ability.
Salem's Lot. I read some of that.
Oh my god.
I thought the movie was scary. There's a scene where the little brother is outside the window, and I was like, "That's some scary stuff." I went and got the book.
I've never seen that.
Not amazing.
All right, so
Yeah.
Richard Brooks of In Cold Blood fame, he leaves, and then Warner Brothers buys it for Martin Ritt to direct. Martin Ritt, I actually know him from this Woody Allen movie called The Front, but I mean, he was a dude at the time. He directed HUD for Paul Newman and Norma Ray and shit. And
All
right, so he was gonna make it with Warner Brothers wanted Robert De Niro or Clint Eastwood because they had them both under contract. All right, and they were gonna make and he was gonna make Troutman the villain, the Richard Crenna character, who's eventually Rambo's ally in the movie.
right.
Okay. So then they hire this fella Michael Cozell, who writes the final script. Well, not the final script, but one of the final drafts they ended up using. And Michael Cozell's a dude who's mostly known for TV these days. He went on to create the show Hill Street Blues in the 80s, which was sort of a revolutionary cop show and paved the way for things like NYPD Blue and later The Wire and things like that. So he wrote it for this fella John Badham, who was coming off of Saturday Night Fever. And so he was replaced by John Frankenheimer, classic John Frankenheimer. And Frankenheimer leaves. This movie was in development for 10 years. When Frankenheimer leaves, Coralco buys the rights. And they were an up-and-coming company. They had their heyday in the 80s producing the Terminator movies. And they buy the script. And they hire this fella, Ted Kotcheff, who ends up directing the movie. I mean, do you know him? Did you know him?
No, I mean I looked him up. I never saw Weekend at Bernie's. That's I guess what he's second most famous for.
That's right, baby. We have covered him on the show with his 5-star classic, Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
He also made the original Fun with Dick and Jane in the 70s that Neil Simon wrote.
Yeah.
I think Neil Simon wrote that. No, he didn't. I fucking made that up.
I didn't know that existed, though.
And oh, you thought the Jim Carrey movie was an original?
Yeah. Yeah.
You thought in 2005 a movie studio was just calling a movie Fun with Dick and Jane?
No, I thought it was based off a book or something.
All right, yeah. Okay, so Kotcheff hires Stallone. Stallone's deal at the time was he was such a big star that he just wrote all his own movies. So he took a hold of the script and he wrote apparently 7 drafts of the script.
Good for him,
And
by the
his
way.
biggest
I didn't realize that
I
when I was
know.
younger, and then I like grew up, and I got a lot of respect for Stallone.
Yeah, he wrote Rocky and directed most of the movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that when I just thought he was like another Arnold. Not to say Arnold's not great, but I just thought he was like another action guy. But then, yeah, good for.
Well, I mean,
Stallone.
he's kind of a big dumb idiot, but like he's also got like a great head for story and like he knows how to do action sequences and set pieces and stuff like that. His big contribution to this movie was Rambo kills a shit ton of people in the original script, and he decided he wants Rambo to be a hero.
Oh,
So he doesn't kill anybody directly in the final film, except for a dog, which I'm like, Stallone, why don't you think killing a dog makes Rambo not a hero? Like,
I didn't notice that he didn't kill anybody.
yeah, like the most direct death he has a hand in is my favorite moment in the movie when he throws a fucking rock at that helicopter and that one
Yeah,
dude
that was
just
great.
falls out of the helicopter. Amazing.
Yeah, yeah, that was very fun.
Legendary. All right. So
He does in the later movies, though, right? He's like a killing machine later.
oh, he kills everybody in the later movies, but he's killing bad guys. The thing is, in this movie, he's fighting against like cops and like the army. So like,
But these guys are horrible people.
but like at the end of this movie, I mean, like between this movie and the next movie or whatever, he like enlists back in the military. So in future movies, he's just like killing a bunch of terrorists and shit.
Oh, but like these guys are horrible. They're trying to kill him instantly. I wouldn't blame him at all for killing these guys.
Well, all cops are bastards, and these guys are no exceptions. All right, we'll get
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Okay, so Stallone's our Rambo. Martin Ritt, to take you through some of the Rambos that were considered. When Martin Ritt was attached, he wanted Paul Newman. Warner Brothers wanted De Niro or Clint Eastwood, and he was pushing for Paul Newman, which is like would be a much just more well-read, like a smarter Rambo, smarter than Logan too. Sorry.
Come on.
John Badham wanted John Travolta, which frankly I think would have been good. And John Frankenheimer actually briefly cast Brad Davis, the dude from Midnight Express, to play Rambo until he left. By the time Ted Kotcheff got a hold of the directing reins, he actually offered the Brian Dennehy role to Gene Hackman and Robert Duvall, who both turned it down. He had to settle for Brian Dennehy, but listen, there's no settling for Brian Dennehy. Brian Dennehy fucking rules.
Yeah, he's great in this. They would have done great too, though.
Of course,
Are you not?
They're Gene Hackman and Robert Duvall. I'm just saying, Brian Dennehy's a powerhouse actor.
Yeah. Are you against Stallone in this? Would you rather have those guys than Stallone?
No,
Okay,
no.
it sounded like
For
you-
I'm saying like I feel like this movie went through a lot of phases of development, and there are a lot of different versions of it that I think could have made for interesting films. I think the movie they eventually made is perfect for Stallone, which of course is because he wrote the fucking thing.
What about Nick Cage as Rambo?
No, I think now that Stallone's done it, you can't remake it unless you want to do it like really close to the novel and like cast a like totally like out of the box guy,
No, I mean back then, if Nick Cage was Rambo.
like Nick Cage, 1983, Valley Girl Nick Cage. I mean, that would have been very weird.
I don't know how famous he was. Yeah, I think he could have pulled it off,
Maybe
especially like at the end when Stallone's really going.
he
for
wasn't
it.
an action hero yet. You don't know. Like Nick Cage wasn't really doing that until the 90s.
Even like more recent. That's when he got like real grizzled.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like
Well,
Joe.
he's out of the hole. Are you aware of this?
No, what hole?
Nick Cage announced this week that he was in a hole with the IRS since 2013, and so all the movies he's made in the last like
Oh right.
10 years or 8 years or something, he's like only chosen them for money. And he says he's like tried his best, but like he's had to make a lot of stuff he's not proud of to pay off the IRS. And he's announced that he's officially out of the hole. And Pig was the first movie that, like, the first role he accepted.
I want to see that.
Like in like an art world, in a post having to pay off the IRS world.
Wow. So Mandy, he's not proud of Mandy. I feel like everybody loved that.
No, he is. He says he's proud of Mandy. He says like some of those movies he took for money like panned out, but like that's why he accepted the role.
All right, well, good for Nick.
Good for Nick.
He couldn't have borrowed some from Francis.
Who's Francis?
Or Sophia?
Who's Sophia?
Coppola.
Oh, his family. Yeah, I don't know. Rich people are weird. They're very ungenerous.
Yeah, really.
I mean, I doubt he was living in fucking poverty. He was probably just trying to pay off his like 12 mansions.
Yeah, it's like student loans or whatever. He doesn't really have to pay.
Yeah, it's not like that. I never pay student loans. They garnish my wages sometimes, but I will never voluntarily pay a student loan.
Yeah, no way.
Okay. So he also sorry. Kirk Douglas was offered the role of Troutman, the Richard Crenna role, and he accepted it with the understanding that they were going to use the original ending that Michael Cozell wrote, which was Troutman and Rambo were going to like kill each other.
Oh my
and
God.
Die together in like a respectful way. You know, like they were gonna like have one last duel and they were gonna both end up dead. And Kirk Douglas wanted that, like a nice death scene. And when they changed the movie, he tapped out and they hired Richard Crenna. And I mean, it turned out well for Richard Crenna. He like fucking ate off of this role for years.
Yeah, I don't like that ending at all. I think this
You
is way
don't?
better.
It would. I mean, it's good for the movie, but I mean that would have been like an interesting tragic ending. It wouldn't
but
have
how
led
does
to
that
any
happen?
sequels, I guess.
How do they kill each other?
I mean, they're in the.
They shoot each
they're
other
in that,
like in the gut.
Yeah, I guess so. That store they're in at the end, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
At the end, they walk out of it unscathed. Crenna gets put into a fucking helicopter. I mean, an ambulance, and Stallone's just sort of like walking away, like Stallone, you're not getting off of this scot-free. You like murdered a bunch of cops.
But no, he didn't. You said he didn't murder anybody. Are they thinking franchise at this point? Are they thinking like we if he lives, we'll get more?
I think Stallone was a forward thinker. I think probably at this point, no one was thinking franchise except Stallone. And that's why he let his character live.
Yeah, genius. This comes out by the same year as Rocky 3, and then Rambo 2, whatever that title was, comes out the same year as Rocky 4. So he was working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was. And he was doing his own shit too, putting out shit like Cobra and Over the Top and whatever. Rhinestone, how about that with Dolly Parton? Sure. So they finish the movie. The cut comes in. It's over 3 hours.
Oh my God! Holy cow!
Stallone watches it in a screening with like some studio heads. He's shocked. He hates the movie. He threatens to sue to prevent it from getting released. They say he can't do that. He says, "Fine, I'll buy all the negatives." And just not release it. And they're like, let us edit it, okay? And so they do, and they edited it by roughly half down to 93 minutes. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how it's a coherent movie, but it is. And it ends up coming out October 22nd, 1982 on a budget of $15 million. It is a huge hit. It makes $125.2 million at the box office, and it's number 13 for the year. It made slightly less than Gandhi and slightly more than The Toy, which is a real movie, Logan, in which a rich white family rents. They purchase Richard Pryor as a toy for their rich white son.
Wow! And how's that?
That's a mainstream comedy movie from 1982.
I mean, isn't like Risky Business like They were like doing crazy stuff back then.
No, Risky Business. It's like a teenager deciding to be a pimp. This is a grown ass black man renting himself out as a slave for a little white boy.
Yeah, that is much different. I guess maybe I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
What number at the
that's
box
a little
office was this?
different.
13.
This was number 13. The Toy was number 14. And just to show you how big Stallone was, Rocky 3 was number 4.
Yeah, huge star. When was Rocky 1? 70, 76?
75, or you might be right, 76, around then.
It's definitely not
Best
75.
Picture. What do you mean? It might be 75.
Yeah,
I think
75 was Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
No. 75
Oh,
was Cuckoo's
yeah.
Nest.
Right, and that won the Best Picture, so it would have been 76. Okay. Well done, Logan.
Thanks.
Trying to prove that you've read something in your life. A Wikipedia entry on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
No, I didn't read that. I just
have
seen a list of the Best Picture winners. I know that one.
Maybe you should read the novel One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's a great book.
I didn't know it was a novel. I never read Jaws. That's the same year. Should I read that?
You don't need the Jaws was made into a better movie than it is a novel.
Yeah, obviously. Should I guess? I'm gonna guess E.T. was number 1 at the box office. Like that's got to be right.
It was number 1 by a lot. Yeah. I wasn't gonna do that game though.
Well, that's all I know, so I don't want to play anyway.
Fucking fine. All right, let's talk about First Blood. I mean, we have been, but we could talk about like the story of it.
I did try and rank my top 10 movies of that year. You guys used to do that. I can only get to 9 though, sadly.
Are you kidding me? Why weren't you able to get to 10?
I've only seen 9 1982 movies.
All right, rank the 9 movies you've seen from 1982. I'd like to hear this list.
All right, well, I've got Grease 2 coming in last. Very sad to do that to Grease 2, but that was last. In 8th place, I had Friday the 13th, Part 3. That's the 3D one, right?
Yeah, great.
Yeah. 7, Halloween 3, Season of the
Witch. Yeah.
6, So Sorry, First Blood. So sorry to put you at number 6. Number 5, Poltergeist. Better movie, right?
Well, it's a 5-star movie in my opinion.
Whoa. Number 4, Blade Runner.
Ugh.
Yeah. I figured you could have that lower. 3, E.T.
I think First Blood and what's the other one you said?
Poltergeist are better than Blade Runner.
Yeah, those are both better than Blade Runner in my opinion.
All right. 3, E.T. What's better, E.T. or Blade Runner?
E.T.
2, Fast Times, 1, The Thing.
Yeah, those are both better. All right.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. So Del Mar is dead. Let's talk about it.
Oh, poor Del.
John Rambo. His name's John Rambo. Jonathan Rambo.
Yeah.
We don't know where he's from, who his parents were, but he's a drifter, and he had time to feather his hair for the situation. All right, so
great.
he's got to at least have access to a sink and a bathroom. So maybe a hair dryer. I assume he has a hair dryer. All right,
yeah,
so he can't be that bad off. So Jonathan Rambo, he wanders upon this small settlement and meets an elderly black woman and says, "Hey." Well, no, he doesn't do the Rocky voice in this one. He's kind of just talking like a normal person. He barely talks in the movie, though.
He's good. He's really good in this, I thought.
Yeah, he has like 10 lines of dialogue.
Yeah, but he has a different character.
No, he's definitely different, yeah. He goes and says, "I knew your son Delmar back in the Nam." He says the Nam. Very crucial. That's how you know he had a hard time there. And his whole crew, he was special forces, all right? A Green Beret, thank you very much. And why doesn't he have that Green Beret with him? If I was a Green Beret, I'd want to keep it.
I would always carry that Green Beret around with me. I wouldn't leave that anywhere.
Like, why can't he? You know how you see like someone on the street in like a military uniform and you're like, "Thank you for your service." You ever do that?
No, not really.
I do that. But you know,
I'm like Larry David in that sense.
You say it. You say it in passing. Thank you for your service. I don't say it if like we're talking about something else, but if it's just like a rando guy and I'm asking for directions or something, I don't know. Anyway, thank you for your service. But if I saw a dude with a Green Beret, You know what's the problem? I'd start asking them questions. I'd be like, "What was being a Green Beret like?" They don't want to answer those questions. Maybe that's why they don't wear them.
I don't think
Maybe
they
they-
can answer those questions.
Do you think they have the Green Berets like in a display at home, or do they have to give the Green Berets back to the military? Or is like the next generation of Green Berets wearing secondhand Green Berets?
Is a Green Beret like a Purple Heart? Is that like the same?
No.
You get it for like doing
No,
good?
no. Purple Heart is like a reward. Like, say you save somebody's life in the line of duty, they pin a badge to your uniform.
Right.
Purple Heart. A Green Beret is more like a Navy SEAL. It's like a group of dudes,
Okay.
special guys that are gonna go in and clean
I would
up
think
the
they get
mess.
to keep it.
I hope so. All
Yeah.
I'm saying is,
And
John
they
Rambo.
probably keep it in their pocket.
Jonathan
pull it out,
Rambo
you probably
did
get, like,
not
free
wear
meals
a
and
Green
stuff.
Beret this whole movie. Yeah, that's true. Free meals, God damn it. But Troutman was wearing one. But he's still militarily
was?
active. Yeah. Yeah, he was wearing it on the side.
Yeah, I
Pretty
didn't
cool.
notice it.
All right. So Delmar's mom says Delmar's dead, and Rambo's pretty broken up by this. Delmar was the only guy that was still living from his squadron. Everybody else died. If you ask me, Rambo was not such a great soldier, given that his entire squadron died, except for one guy. But
Oh,
you're not
but he was
asking
the
me.
one that lived.
But you're not
That makes him
asking
the
me,
best
all right?
one.
All right. So Delmar didn't die in Vietnam. He was the orange got him. That's what they say. The orange got him.
That was sad to learn.
Yeah, they're referring to Agent Orange, which chemically gave him cancer and murdered him. Maybe he lost his hair like Jada Pinkett Smith beforehand. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Now, the mom says, "You got to get out of here, Rambo." But Rambo talks to her for a minute, convinces her that he's at least like friend to the black man. All right. So then he leaves and he happens upon a town called Holiday Land.
Oh,
And
I didn't
underneath-
pick up on that.
Yeah. And underneath that on the sign it says "Welcome to Hope." It's a little bit,
No?
not subtle, but what are you going to do? We meet Sheriff Brian Dennehy. And Dennehy is staunchly anti-drifter in this film. Very staunchly.
Yeah, wouldn't you be?
I don't know what the big problem is.
No, there's no problem. Maybe there was back in the day. I didn't really understand either.
Look, he says to Rambo, "I wouldn't come in here looking like that, wearing a flag like that." And all Rambo's looking like is a drifter wearing the American flag. I feel like now, if a drifter walked into a town wearing the American flag, like the town would celebrate him. We love the military now. But,
right. I didn't know why that was a problem.
Well, post-Vietnam, he has that monologue at the end where he talks about like people calling us baby killers, all that shit, and spitting on us at the airport. That was the stereotype. People that went to Vietnam, like, it was bullshit because most of them got drafted. But like when they came back, people like hippies at the airport would call them fascists
Wow.
and shit.
Must have been difficult.
You aware of that?
No, not really.
Did you learn about that in the Vietnam unit in school?
No, we didn't. We avoided that.
You didn't talk on Vietnam at all? I feel like we talked about Vietnam for like an entire year and watched like 17 movies about it.
No, we only talked about the Civil War and how we were on the right side of history.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Did that really
but
happen?
not really. I mean, kind of. Yeah.
What do you mean, kind of?
I mean,
Like,
I
they-
told you, like, my history
they
teacher,
said
her
it.
husband was...
No, go ahead. What was her husband?
I told you my history teacher's husband was, like, in the KKK,
Oh my god.
basically. Yeah. So, that was our history teacher. I'm not sure we got the facts.
Do they think those outfits are scary? Because they probably were at some point. But like they're goofy now. I feel like the KKK should update.
The hood? Do you think that's goofy?
Yeah. Like it looks silly now. I think.
Come up
You
with a
know
design. Submit
the
it.
Black Klansman poster with like he has like an afro pick and he's got the hood on. Like that works because the hood is so silly. You couldn't do that with like a Darth Vader mask. Darth Vader's scary.
So you think they should have Darth Vader costumes?
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, maybe the KKK should design something sort of more Darth Vader esque. Although,
But white? I think they have to have them
yeah,
white.
I think they have to have them white. You're right. It's pure.
Stormtroopers. What if they were all just stormtroopers?
They were God damn it.
That's what they should
Oh,
do.
yeah, yeah. It's funny. Force Awakens was sort of the original Black Klansman, wasn't it? That fella, Boyega.
What? He was the original
Boyega
Black
as the Black
Klansman?
Stormtrooper. He was a little bit the original Black Klansman.
Yeah, I guess so. He went undercover. I don't know if it was by choice though. Definitely wasn't by choice actually.
I can't.
But yeah, I guess so. He went undercover. Yeah.
Okay. So Dennehy hates drifters and he arrests. Well, first he tells Stallone to like get the fuck out of town. And Stallone's like, I want to eat something. And he's like, I'll take you to a diner 30 miles out of town. I just don't want to see your fucking face. And so he drives him across this bridge, one of those bridges like in A Quiet Place. And then Stallone starts just walking back into town. And then he drives back. He makes a Yui. And he's like, I am so sick of your fucking drifting. Would you stop drifting everywhere?
Drift over there, guy.
Drift out of town. And Stallone is like, hey, I just wanted something at the diner. And so they arrest Stallone. They bring him in to the police station. And I'm excited because I'm recognizing some of these cops.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. How about the redhead, David Caruso?
Yeah, what's he from?
All right. Logan, let me let you in on the world of David Caruso, one of the most fascinating actors of all time. You remember him? He's the redhead who's sort of his role in the movie is like, I think you're being a little too hard on this guy. Maybe you should stop smacking him in the face so much.
Sure.
David Caruso, he's just a character actor working in the 80s. He gets around, but look at him. He's like a little ginger gremlin. He's never going to be a star, right? Wrong. In the early 90s, he ends up on NYPD Blue. All right. The biggest cop show in the world at the time. It was a gritty show. It was revolutionary for its day. They showed male butts.
Oh.
And yeah, Dennis Franz's. And so Dennis Franz and David Caruso were like the guys. And it becomes the biggest hit on TV. All right. Then, after only one season, Logan, David Caruso's like, all right, I'm going to go be a movie star.
Wow. That's what he did.
He quit NYPD Blue. Hollywood is like, all right, I guess we'll make David Caruso a movie star. So they make him the star in like 2 movies. They both tank. The only one I can think of right now is this one called Jade, which is this like erotic thriller. It sucks. And then it was just like, oh my God, David Caruso, what are you going to do? There's a joke in the pilot episode of South Park from 1997 where, the little baby Ike? You don't watch South Park, but there's a little baby. And they need him to jump out of something to escape something. And so he's like jumping out of a UFO and Kyle yells up at him, Ike, do your impression of David Caruso's career.
Oh my gosh.
And he jumps down. Yeah, that's a good joke. So Caruso left movies with his tail between his legs, went back to TV. They created a show for him called Michael Hayes, where he was the titular Michael Hayes. It fucking tanked. Nobody watched it. And then he ended up on CSI Miami for like 20 years.
Wow. Yeah, I see on his IMDb, this is his most known credit. Which seems crazy because he's not in it very much.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't his most known credit in the early 90s. Like, he was a big star, huge. And then it just went away as fast as it arrived.
Yeah, I only know Alex Caruso, Chicago Bull.
Oh, I don't know that guy. What about DJ Caruso, the director of Disturbia?
No, I didn't know he directed that.
There you go.
Well, Alex
Also
isn't an
Eagle
old guy.
Eye.
Alex Caruso is playing right now. I don't think you'd know him.
All right. DJ Caruso, I'll tell you off the top of my head, I know he also directed Two for the Money with Al Pacino.
Oh, never saw that.
Not good. Okay. So, they strip Stallone of all his clothes and they hose down his bare bottom. And one of the guys who does that's Chris Mulkey, another character actor I like. But like whatever, if you didn't know David Caruso, you're not gonna know Chris Mulkey.
No way.
Yeah. So Stallone has PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder from the Vietnam War.
Mhm.
And so he starts getting it, and this causes him to make a prison break. All right. He beats up all the cops, and he jumps out of the police station, and he like kicks a guy off of a motorcycle and steals it like it's Grand Theft Auto 5. Then he races off it's a big helicopter chase where Dennehy's following him in the car. He's on a motorcycle, and then there's another guy in the helicopter. This part is baller. All right. Do you agree?
Yes, definitely.
He starts descending a cliff, and I'm like, dude, how are you gonna get down there from this fucking cliff? Like that shit's not gonna work. And it doesn't, because he does slip, but don't even worry about it. He lands in a tree, survives, fine, doesn't even break anything, and he chucks a rock at the copter.
This is
And-
pre-cliffhanger, right? When's that?
Oh, good point. Yeah, he'll later, about 10 years later, become a much better cliffhanger.
I've never seen that
Cliffhanger.
movie, but I only remember it. Or the thing I remember about that is the poster. He's like in the snow, but he's wearing like summer clothes. That's like all I know about that movie. I don't know if that happens in the movie or not, but yeah.
Listen, it just looks like he's in the snow because he's like on a high mountain, and he's wearing.
But he's not.
No, he is. I guess you're right. I think he's wearing a tank top in that poster. Why would he have a tank top on the side of a mountain? His arms are gonna get cut up.
Yeah, it seems dangerous. I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, it's a bad move. All right, so that dude falls out of the helicopter. I laughed so fucking hard, and then Rambo finds him dead on some rocks and steals his gun.
It's
Hell
done like
yeah.
a video game. I really like that about it. How the helicopter's like on one side of the tree, and then it moves to the right side, and then it's like back to the left side and back to the right. It's fun. It's like a video game.
Yeah, it's like strafing.
Yeah, it's really good.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and the camera's like it's
Yeah,
really
it's-
fun.
It's sort of like he's fighting Metal Gear at the end of Metal Gear Solid.
I never played those.
Oh shit, dude, you'd love that game. Play the first Metal Gear Solid. Forget books. Play that.
I don't play like games where you have to do a story and like pay it. I don't like those all that much.
I sort of understand what you mean. I never play those games either. That is the only video game story I ever got invested in. I bought the fucking strategy guide because I wanted to know where the story was going.
Wow, I played the latest Spider-Man game. Maybe not the latest. I think they had a Miles Morales one, but they had a Spider-Man
Yeah.
game that had a good story, a great story actually. Very sad.
What was the story?
It was like
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say
Did he have
anything,
to
but,
fight a villain?
yeah, that did happen. That was a great guess. But Aunt May dies at the end. Spoiler alert.
What?
Yep. Very
That's a
sad.
bold move for a game.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
All right. So Rambo, he goes off into the woods to hide. Everyone's chasing after him. He's got a big serrated knife, and he at one point he pops off the handle, and he's got a needle and thread in there, and he starts like fucking giving himself stitches.
Right. It's like
What
the
a
Terminator.
great survivalist this Rambo is. But like, how did he know he was gonna need that shit? He was just going to visit his friend Delmar.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? I've seen those things. Like my grandpa has those knives.
With a fucking, there's stuff in the handle?
Yes, you like unscrew the handle and you have like thread and needle. Yeah, they make these. Or you can just like take it out and put whatever shit you want.
I've
in it.
never seen this in my life. Is it a hunting knife? Is that why?
Yeah, and like a survival knife. I don't know. But I used to like take it out and put like roll up money in it and hide money in knives.
Rambo hunts. He kills too many animals in this movie for me to truly think of him as a hero.
You think so?
Yeah, that they get that one guy with the Dobermans who he keeps calling his babies. He sends a Doberman after him. We don't even see it. He's just like we hear a snap, like he snapped the dog's neck.
Yeah, that's brutal. You hear like a knife too. He shoots. He kills a pig too. You don't like that?
Yeah,
Or
I
is
was
that
gonna
okay?
bring that up next. No, I don't like that either. I know he's got to eat, but
Yeah, he's
there's
gotta
got to
eat.
be something other than this pig. He's got
Like
like a
what?
wild boar in the woods. I don't know. Find some berries or some shit.
Well, that's more dangerous, I would think.
All right, look, I guess if you're on the run from the military and you're hungry, it's okay to kill a boar.
Yeah,
I'll let him have
come
that
on.
one.
It's not Survivor. Like the first day of Survivor, Michael Scoopin's killing pigs for fun.
That's great. I love that. Michael Scoopin, what a legend. All right. So yeah, Rambo says to them, he says to Dennehy, in town you're the law. Out here it's me.
Hell yeah.
All right. I disagree. I think it's probably still the cops that are the law in the woods.
Yeah, gotta respect the police.
I don't think in the woods all of a sudden the jurisdiction becomes this dude just because he survives well in the woods.
I think it does though. Like he is in control. He could have killed him at any point.
Well, that's what Troutman says. Troutman shows up 45 minutes into the movie, halfway through for such an important character. He was Rambo's colonel in the army, informs them that Rambo was a Green Beret who had a fucking Medal of Honor, and they're just some shitheel cops that are going to kill him. And then he goes, this is my favorite line in the movie, Logan. He goes, hey, you think your guy can take on this is my Brian Dennehy impression. He always sounds very incredulous. You think your guy can take on 200 of my best men? I wouldn't think so, Troutman. And then Troutman goes, you're gonna need a good supply of body bags.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he was right
All
in the
right.
later movies. I remember like he's just like mowing people down in later movies. I really didn't expect this for him to be so nice.
Well, it's a wild movie. Like, there's no real villain. I mean, I guess there is, and it's the
It's
cops.
the cops.
But like
Yeah.
no, I know, but for a franchise that became so sort of like conventional in later movies with like the American hero fighting some sort of like foreign terrorist villain. That's like what every action movie was back then. It's really odd to have the first one be like sort of a statement on soldiers coming back from Vietnam and
Right.
because like it's sort of a serious movie. Like it's the cops hunting him the whole time, which is like weird. You're rooting against the cops, which you do a lot now, but you weren't asked to do as much in 1982. And then at the end of the movie, like the message is this big monologue basically about how the United States government ruined a lot of good American men.
Yeah. Very sad. Very sad.
Yeah.
Was he nominated for this? Because he really goes for it, Stallone.
Fuck no. Were you kidding
I didn't
me?
know.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
really tries.
no, I know. He goes for it, but back then we were never nominating movies that weren't like seeming like Oscar movies. Like now they nominate like action movies and sci-fi movies sometimes. That didn't really happen at this point.
Dune, right?
Yeah, fuck it. Dune did come out around this time. David Lynch. That
Right.
didn't get nominated for anything.
Was that good? I haven't seen that.
I like it as much as the fucking Villeneuve one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I didn't hate the Villeneuve one either. It was all right. I didn't like the score, which won. That was stupid, but it's like
Yeah.
a good looking half of a movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
All right. All right, so what happens next, buddy?
Well, I like the
try to kill him,
end, the
right?
sort of standoff at the end where he's in the building and the cop is on top of the building. That sort of showdown. I kind of like
Yeah.
that set piece. That's
I
interesting.
like that too. There's a set piece before that though where he's in the cave and they're trying to take him out and
Oh right.
yeah, and they think they kill him for a while. I feel like that's a thing in a lot of action movies where like the villains think they killed the hero. It's like a good way to stop the action in the third,
Right.
like right before
Like a
the
little
third
reset.
act. So like so the characters can all have some conversations. before
Right.
the hero turns up alive.
I liked the guy
And
that's doing it, like the main guy who's like in charge of wanting to kill him. He's like screaming at him, and then they blow him up. And then the other guy radios in. He's like, "All right, now you gotta go in there and find the body." And he's like, "Oh shit." I thought that was like the one good joke in the movie.
I don't. What are you talking about? Who's in charge of killing him?
Well, there's like a guy. They're all outside, and he's like, "There's one guy screaming his head off to kill him," and they rocket launcher him. And then he's like, "All right, well now you gotta go
Oh
find
yeah.
the body." He's like,
I
"Oh
thought that
shit."
was weird actually, because then later in the movie, Dennehy has that whole monologue to Richard Crenna in the bar where he's saying like, "I really wanted to kill that guy. I could taste it how much I was gonna kill that guy." And so why were you like sending a dude with like a rocket launcher after him? Clearly, if you have a rocket launcher, like you might kill that guy.
Right. Well, I think that was last resort. I don't think they wanted to do that, but they had to.
Yeah. By the way, in that cave, Rambo seemed awfully spooked by rats for such a fucking soldier of fortune.
Yeah, I thought. Well, that's the in Indiana Jones thing, isn't that the dad is scared of rats? Well, I guess that's not out yet.
Well, he's
That's the
afraid of
last
snakes, you know.
Right, but in the
Snakes, why
last
do
one,
they
he
have to be
he hates
snakes?
rats. Right.
But he's Indiana Jones. Logan, that's an archaeologist. That's an archaeologist who teaches at a college. This is a green beret. A rat jumps on his shoulder and he's like, "Ah!"
Yeah, I guess you're right. It just scared him. What do you want from him? He's supposed to have no feelings of being scared.
I think in a later movie, if a rat jumped on Rambo's shoulders, Rambo would just be like, "Hey, buddy, what's your name?"
eat its head off.
Yeah, maybe he would grab it and eat it. That's funny. All right. So they all think he's dead until he explodes this one gas station. Then they go after him. He has a monologue. It's pretty sad. He says he can't even get a job parking cars. It's been 7 years since the
that is
Vietnam
sad.
War, by the way. Like, what a bummer. Get a job. He can't like wash dishes somewhere.
He said like at one point his friend opened a box and the box exploded and killed his friend, and he's trying to put his friend back together. It's like brutal
It's
stuff.
a sort of an all over the place monologue. I get the
Yeah,
sense
it
that
is.
maybe
A lot
Stallone like
happens.
wrote it stream of consciousness. Like at one point he's just like, "Yeah, and there was a hooker in Saigon," and I'm like, "What? You're talking about hookers now? What's happening?"
It's like if you show up late for work and they're like, "Why are you late?" and you come up with like you're like, "Well, this happened," like, and there was traffic, and then there was this going on, and this like just come up with one thing instead of
Yeah.
throwing
The
like, a
subway
million
was fucked
excuses
up,
at it.
and I overslept, and my shower's broken. I had to wait
And
for
my
a plumber.
dog.
The plumber never
Yeah.
showed up. Yeah, and then my dog's sick. I had to take him to the vet. But I'm only 10 minutes late.
And then they're just like, "All right, whatever."
I feel like I used to do that when I was a kid and get looks from people like, "You're an idiot."
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, Logan. We get a great closing credit song.
What was it?
Well, I mean, so Jerry Goldsmith wrote the music for this movie, and of course, they liked having closing credit songs at this time, so he wrote a song for like a singer to perform. All right,
Yeah.
that's all. I don't know what song it is though. I can't even look it up.
Oh, I thought you had
I
something.
forgot to write it down. I
Thought it
thought
was
I
like
did,
Cher.
but I looked up the guy. Let's see. This is his most famous song. Let's see if we know it. This is who sung the Rambos. It was so tender, which is why I wrote it down. It was odd to hear. Ooh.
You ask me if I love you,
Wow.
and I choke on my reply.
I bet G would love this music.
I wanna hold you till
Oh, you're right. G.
till we both break down. And
Oh, I do know this song.
I wanna hold you till the fear in me subsides.
Beautiful.
Subsides.
Dan Hill, ladies and gentlemen.
Show me a
What
song.
strings?
Show me a song in the last 20 years with the word subsides in it. It doesn't exist.
Ooh. You think so?
Nobody uses the word subsides in
I
a
bet
song
you there's
anymore.
an emo song. Somebody find me an emo song with subside in the lyric.
I don't know about that.
I looked up subsides lyrics. Let's see what came up. A song by somebody named Eloise. You familiar?
No. I know Sublime.
All right. Yeah. Do you know Sublime with Rome?
No.
Sublime tours now with a singer named Rome, but Bradley Noel, the original lead singer's family, sued the rest of the band for using the name Sublime because Bradley Noel came up with it. And so they have to refer to themselves when they perform live as Sublime featuring Rome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they're still going. Good job.
Yeah. They still practice Santeria.
Yeah. What do you give this movie?
Logan, I give this movie a 3. It's a
me
good
too.
movie. I thought about going 4 because it's kind of a classic and it does have some classic moments and a good Stallone performance, but it's a mixed bag. It's 93 minutes. It's not all that. It's got Dennehy though. It's got Richard Crenna. I'm sort of between. If I gave 3.5s, I would do that, but I'm sticking with a 3.
Yeah, I think it is good, but I think it's too reliant on this guy is just like in the woods and we're waiting on him to get out of the woods, you know?
Yeah, I think like it gets off to like a cracking start. Like the first 20 minutes is really well constructed. They introduce like a shit ton of cool character actors, and Rambo's a well-defined character. I do think once he's in the woods, it loses steam a little bit. Like I can't believe that the original cut of this movie was over 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me like they had 30 minutes at the beginning and they had 20 minutes at the end. And then a lot of stuff in the middle is just filler.
Right. Like, yeah, I agree with that. A lot of the stuff where they're in the wood. This movie is worse than I thought, but also way better than I thought. Does that make sense?
Do you think it's more fun than you thought, but not as good a movie? Is that what it is?
No, I think the opposite kind of. I think it's not.
Oh, the opposite. Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that this would just be Rambo killing people, but it's actually like it's good and it's emotional, but it's not as insane.
Yeah, it's a real movie, whereas I kind of don't think any of the other ones are.
Oh.
Maybe the second one.
Okay. I hope there's more 3s. I hope it's not all way worse than this.
No, they're a good time, but I mean, definitely of the first 3, this is the best one.
All right, well, maybe they'll surprise us later.
Yeah.
Who's
maybe.
the MVP? Stallone?
No, it's Brian fucking Dennehy. Amazing.
I'm going
this movie.
Stallone.
That's fine. I mean,
I like Stallone. Stallone's face is good in this movie. I don't know what it is.
Stallone just has a charisma that's hard to beat, you know? Like, when he's on the screen, you want to watch him. But, like, ultimately, he has, like, 12 lines in the movie. And I think the movie doesn't work if you don't have a really good actor as that sheriff. And Brian Dennehy's great. I mean, I've seen that guy as, like, fucking Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman. And he's, like, the best Willie Loman I've ever seen.
Yeah, sure. Willie Loman. Who's the LVP?
Fuck off. LVP
It's
for
tough,
this
right?
film. It is tough. I mean, everyone's pretty good, right? Maybe just
Yeah.
David Caruso for being such a douchebag.
No.
No, of course not. By the way, Bruce Greenwood, another great actor, also
Is
showed
he
up
in
as-
this?
He had like one line. He was like one of the National Guard guys they brought in.
Whoa! I didn't. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Can we go the law enforcement? Is that possible?
But some of them are good. Like you have to get the one. Like to me,
They're all
maybe
pretty
the elf.
bad. Like
No,
at
listen,
one point,
I'm
he comes out to surrender, and they start shooting at him.
I'm going with this guy Kern. I thought he was a weaker villain than the rest of them because one of them's Chris Mulkey, one of them is David Caruso. All right, so they are not LVPs. Then you got Jack Starrett who plays this guy Galt, and he's the one who falls out of the helicopter. So no way that guy's
No
the
way.
LVP.
See the mustache
And
guy?
so, yes, it is.
Yes.
And so I'll go with the highest billed police officer who I don't remember. And
I'll
that's
follow
fourth
you.
billed Bill McKinney as Kern.
That sounds fair. That sounds fair to me. Billy Kern.
Right. All right. I knew a guy named Matt Kern growing up.
Oh yeah. How was he? Is he a nice
Shout
guy?
out to that guy. He was nice enough, but like, I mean, I can't tell you anything about him. I knew him for like probably 15 years, and I can't tell you anything about him.
Yeah, that's all right. Some people you run into, they're just awful.
That's true. Yeah, he wasn't awful. I'll give him that.